Yeah, that's good. Thoughts. So, the puzzles in this game keep being very refreshing. I like what they do with those. Like, they are not fully repeating anything that they have done previously. They keep it very much fresh enough where it's entertaining all the time. But the amount of puzzles in this game, though, like, it's actually almost puzzle central in every area you go. There's always at least one puzzle in like every like small area you're at, which is kind of nice. In a lot of these other like Souls, like even just action games in general, they don't have like that many of those like small puzzles that are just kind of, you know, neutron activating, I guess you could say, amongst like just killing stuff normally. So it's kind of refreshing to see that. It's nice. Then what else? Yeah, that entire range underground section, that was really nice. Like, it's the exact same thing. The first chapter, when we get the first hypercell, it was mostly melee only. Like, you know, normal introduction stuff. Then we go to the next hypercell and it's range only then. And it's a very different vibe, that entire journey, compared to the first one. So it's very easy to remember like what you have done. It doesn't feel the same, you know? And that's very important. When it feels like it starts stagnating, then there's a problem. And this doesn't have any of that. Even like this open world exploration in this game, it keeps being interesting all the time. But I would say that one problem that I consistently have with this game right now, yeah, pretty much, is the difficulty, I think. I feel like I think the amount of enemies in this game is totally fine, but I feel like the enemies themselves are not opposing enough, maybe. I don't know, it's kind of weird thing, because with games like Nier Automata, as I compare this game to that very often, obviously, like Nier Automata, if you play that game on the hard difficulty, which is the recommended difficulty to play the game on, because then the main story is not going to be too easy when you do that, along with some side quests and stuff. Like, Nier is not a hard game by any means, unless you try to force the side quests on the hard difficulty. Even on just the normal difficulty, you try to force the side quests that are like definitely not meant to be like always done immediately when they come up, because they are very over level at times. If you try to force those, yeah, then the game is very hard, yes. But if you do them like appropriately leveled and you do only main quest stuff a lot of the time, the game is not hard whatsoever. It really is not. But the combat flow in the game is so fun and so responsive to the player that it doesn't really matter what you fight in the game. It's kind of like one of those rare games where literally just fighting anything is fun. You know, it's one of those. And in this game, I kind of feel that at this point. Like, I wasn't fully like into it like the day before and the first day, but now that I have both more tools and I understand more when the game allows me to cancel my attacks into roll as well as parries, because it's not like very obvious whatsoever. It's the same exact same thing as with Black Myth Wukong, where it took me a while to understand at what points you are able to cancel your attack to either rolling or to parrying in between your attack. It's the exact same issue here as well, where it's not responsive and player friendly enough for the player to just have the reaction speed to be able to like intuitively understand what they are able to do based off like their own reaction time and mechanics only. You have to actually like understand the game's rules on when you are able to do something. And then when you apply the both, your intuition and skill, and then you combine that with having learned where the game's cancels exactly are, then it stops being annoying and it starts being more fun at that point. And it's the exact same thing with this game as it was with Black Myth Wukong for me. For that exact reason I just explained. And also, I did kind of already say this, but the more flavor that I got from the range mechanics, you know, just the gun in this game, the bot gun, as well as understanding the cancels better, it makes the combat feel a lot more fluid. Like, it's still not fluid, but because I know how to play it, it makes it feel more fluid. But it's not like something that if you, like, I mean, you can literally look at my own experience, but like, if you take somebody who doesn't know how to play this game whatsoever, and you put them to play this game, they would also say that it doesn't feel very responsive. Because there's so many, like, there's so many slow motions in this game when you, like, attack enemies and do finishers and whatnot for, like, style and whatnot. Like, it is a style choice, obviously, but it makes the game not feel responsive when there is so much of that. It's cool, but if you do it a lot and you fight a lot of enemies in this game all the time, obviously, it makes it feel like it's out of your control too much. And because of that, it makes it feel like it's not as fun, because it feels like you are not doing as much in the game with your interactiveness with the game. Like, I think the most important thing with a game that you put your full attention to, out of my entire, like, experience playing any game ever, is have the game feel as interactive to the player every moment when they play it as possible. I feel like that is the most important thing about a game that is intended for the player to have full focus in the game. Not something like, you know, there's obviously exceptions to this, like, I don't know, like, card games, for example. Like, that's like one example that you can think of. Like, obviously in those kinds of games, having like every moment feel like it's very responsive to the player is not part of the playstyle. Like, it's obviously not intended in those games. But I would say, like, a very big majority rule in all games is to have it feel as responsive and interactive as possible. And this game is kind of leaning on the edge there a little bit, where it feels like it is responsive, but then at times it feels like it is a little too much out of your control. So, comparing the games like Nier again, like, Nier Automata feels so responsive because every time you press any button in the game, like damn near any button, the game takes it immediately, and the game really feels like it respects every button press that you do. Like, it is super snappy and responsive. That is one of the main reasons in that game, as this example goes, where fighting almost anything and doing almost anything is just satisfying in the game. Because it feels like it really, like... Actually, one way I could say this, it's easier to immerse yourself in the game when it feels like every move you do physically with the controller translates into the game all the time. I guess that's how I could also put it, you know? But... yeah, I think the other aspects of this game are making it so great enough that I can kind of overlook those flaws. Not to mention, we have like 2 entire skill trees that I don't even know what the hell they do. So, like, obviously we're gonna get some expansions at some point, but we'll see what those are. Overall, I would say I enjoyed this quite a bit more than I enjoyed the second day when I played the game and ran around the wasteland aimlessly. Yeah. This game is indeed very good. It is a very great game indeed.